folks. Meet Ted. Ted, what's your name? He said, Hamish. Are you Scottish? Yeah, I said, look at my feet. He's got a tartan feet. How about that, yeah? And he's got a tartan tie and tartan hands. So his head, his hands and his feet and his throat chakra are fully open in a Scottish manner. Meaning, oh, they have old school hospitality in Scotland. If you go and knock on somebody's door and go, look, I'm sorry, I'm foreign, I'm English, don't know where I'm going, they will help you a lot. You'd be surprised how much they help you. I've been to Scotland a good few times. The first time I went was 1973, and I went with this bloke called Pete Smith, who was at that time one of my best mates. He was a fantastically creative person, way more than I was. I learnt about creativity from him. There was a lot of discord between him and one of my other mentors, and that really messed my life up at that time. When your mentors have discord, oh my God. Anyway, Hamish, he's got his feet chakra open, he's got his hand chakra open, and it looks like he's got his throat chakra open. But he doesn't look miserable, and he looks like he's been donked on the head. Now that is not Hamish's third eye, it's not open, yeah? He's a miserable sod, so don't tell him I'm miserable. So, well, our job is to cheer you up, Hamish, right? And the first thing we're going to do is whisper a mantra in your ear. You know, like when you get a hug from Mother Amma, she whispers in your ear like that, right? And the thing she whispers is specially for you, and it could be any one of hundreds of things that she says, but normally she says like that. And it's the mantra of the ever-expanding universe. Did you hear what I said? I'll do it again. More, more, more. It's like that. That I'm not... Well, I'm sort of hugging Ted. Look. All right, Ted. You've had your guru hug. You've had your magic mantra. And we've talked a little bit about the state of your chakras. You don't seem to have no root chakra or sacral chakra working. And your third eye and your crown chakra seem a bit like in a bit of a state. You have got a little bit of crown chakra activity, actually. He said, yeah, I know what's going on, mate. All right. Right. Well, can you now go to your position, Ted? Because what is your job round here? I'm the cameraman. Aren't you? You're the... Can I get on with it? All right, come on then. Ted is the cameraman. And he's really good at it. Nothing else is as good as Ted. Oh, Hamish. Now he's showing me 3 chakras, not all of them, but he is giving like that, yeah? Ted, you're a wonderful partner. Right, today's thing is the beginnings of the lessons of chakras. So, I'm not saying I'm giving a lesson. What I'm going to do is talk about what I've done with my chakras. So, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your chakras, but I'm going to tell you what I do when I do my chakras. And one of the things that I do is, before I start doing any chakras, I do a warm-up meditation. You can't really call it a warm-up. It's more of a chill-out meditation. And I don't know if you've ever done transcendental meditation, which is about transcending, then you might know what I'm talking about. Now, I've tried to do that, attempted to do it, had intermittent, ongoing success with it since I was very young. Like Pete Smith, who I was just talking about then, he was aware of it, and he was a very sweet and clever, crispy, quite difficult middle-class kid, and I was a like I am now, very much like I am now, and I didn't realise just how open I was then. But I was a very open and wanting to please and empathetic kind of person even then. Although I was quite sort of into having a good time. I was very hedonistic and existential in my nature. I still am, yeah? So I wasn't that different to what I was like then. Now I'm just wiser, smarter, tougher, older, stronger and more skilled than I was then. So I'm now looking at what I did then with a different light, which is, that was the beginning of it. Pete was going, oh, let's try and do some transcendental meditation. He'd been reading about it. He'd connected with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who's the voice of transcendental meditation as far as we're concerned when we were young, yeah? And the Beatles went to him and they studied transcendental meditation with him. I, of course, since then have looked a lot. I've done quite a bit of study about Maharishi Mahesh. He's a wonderful bloke. Just go on the internet and look up everything that you can about him. And he's a funny, charming Indian bloke. He's got a funny high voice, and he's got this joy about him that you can't imitate the joy of Yogi. He's so good at it, yeah? Try and get to the bliss point that he's got to. I know about it. I know about the bliss point. So I tried to do this meditation. We all sat round, we did the thing, and I was thinking, it was very peaceful. I did have a tranquil experience, yeah, and it was all good, except we didn't do it again for ages, and it was an inconsistent thing. I went to lots of like alternative music or festival scenarios, and I've seen other people doing meditation, like older hippies, who were doing it full on. Like they had achieved much more of a sort of meditative state than I'd ever done myself. Although, sorry, I'm still a little bit poorly. In my social scene, quite literally, we were thinking, hippies do this, let's do it. We were the youngest of the hippies. Born in 1957, makes you 16 in 1973, not 1967. So to be a proper hippie in 1967, you want to be about 20 years old, maybe a little bit more than that. Like from 1964, you should have been doing it on the beat path, on the road and whatever. And by 1967, you're like 20 or 19 or 21, and you're the real deal then. You are the generation of the peace generation. And the Eastern mysticism that was being brought in by the Beatles and other people like that, all of those people were well aware of that. Dance, hedonism was a big thing amongst them. If you actually do any research about the hippie generation, there's a whole slice of it that doesn't do any drugs at all, that just does dancing. And they do like this mad impact dancing, like quaking almost, and there it is, that's what they do, yeah? So back to the subject, which is how to get your chakras started and what the road of chakra, yeah? And they generally, across the board of what I've read about it and done myself, the notion is that you really do your root chakra first, and your grounding to the planet energy. Earth energy is waiting for you. The energy of the entirety of nature, almost, is the way you can describe it. If you wish to truly connect strongly with the universe, you have to first connect with the earth, because the earth is going to hold you in place, a bit like a good record deck or a good CD player. The chassis of it, how strong it is physically able to resist the bending or shaking or whatever that the power of the music that you're trying to represent is doing, the stronger that chassis is, the clearer the music will be, and the stronger the message, the nicer it'll be. You know, the theory of hi-fi record players is that the chassis is, and the platter that you actually put the disc on is also, the stability of that is everything. And then how strong the thing that you actually put on it to read it is also quite pertinent in the how clear and deep depth of the perception of the picture will be. It is controlled by the stability of the grip over the thing that you're doing. Yeah. So in the interest of extreme stability, before you start hearing the music of the spheres like blasting in your ears, and you start to take on your true cosmic abilities, you really want to be connected to the earth before you go any further down that path. Otherwise you're not going to have the battery of the planet that you're going to need. You're really going to need that. If you think about things like religious buildings and pyramids and anything like that, they have like big bases, huge stone bases that the thing sits on, yeah? And any kind of electromagnetic transmitting, receiving equipment is always very strongly earthed. For instance, you know, if large transmitting towers come to a large earthing system underneath, and the old adage of "as above, so below," this thing, you hear it said, and it's explained brilliantly well by Nikola Tesla about the need to have the grip over the earth. It has to equal the ability of the top of the tower in receiving the ionic energy that comes from the ionosphere, which is a positive charge, and of course the Earth's a negative charge. And this level of understanding about, we are going to do a microelectronic connection with the universe, with our own body, right? That's what we're going to do. So before we start doing that, we need to get our earthing system really good. And your root chakra, notionally, your consciousness is ready to do it in the form of your root chakra. And if you look across the panoply of images of people who are meditating, and most notably I find pictures of Buddha very useful in this, because he is a highly enlightened person, and he's no different to any of us. He's just a human being, but he's done all this stuff to get himself in this highly enlightened, connected to the universe state. And there's lots of different depictions of Buddha, there's millions of different ones, and almost all of them have a reasonable depiction of his root chakra in action. Usually it's in the form of him sitting on a very petal-filled lotus flower that's as big as, it's sort of much bigger than him. There's some radiophonic voice going on. So he has this thing and he sits on it, and he's usually in a full lotus position, which means that he is he's got his feet in a situation where the bottom of his feet are facing upwards, and that's both of his feet in the full lotus position. He's got his hands like this, and this is him generally initiating his connection, where he's coming into a meditation and he's starting to connect to the universe. Before he goes to actually do the full connection, he'll warm up his own light body, spiritual energy pad. Well, they believe that the main source of the spirit in life resides in the lower part of the body, and they believe that if you have your hands like this, that's right inside of it. It's both connecting two hands together, which means that you're increasing the ability of a single hand plate. In the body electric, these are like electric plates, and positive and negative, negative and positive, left and right, right and left, have this thing. And when you do a prayer, it makes a loop going both ways. The circuit works both ways. It's the beauty of human energy. When you see a Balinese person, they get their shoulders involved in this, and they press together very much more than when Christians pray and they go, "Oh Lord, please send me." They are doing this thing that's their flavour of what's supposed to be spiritual for them, yeah. And I'm not knocking it. It just seems to be not as we're not involved in devotion in the way that Eastern people are. Or if you look as a Christian, I was brought up as a regular Methodist type Christian. If you look at other religions, you think, wow, they're really fervent. They do a lot more than we do. Our Christianity, although there are some people, obviously, I did mention before about the Fig Tree Hall, where their Christianity is raging and very much full on, like quaking. In the world of chakras, none of that's really relevant. It's all about your getting connected. So these things, when you go like this, you get these two plates work together, and they make one circuit that goes like this instead of one circuit that goes like this. So it gets this circuit going, and when your legs are all folded up, they become like a solid piece of body electric. Instead of conduits, they become like almost like just a good solid field. and the feet, if you can get your feet that way up with yoga, that means your feet are pointing up as well as your hands. So it's like double deluxe on the meditative state. When you've got your feet there and your hands there. Sorry, Ted, can you just put the camera down a bit? Look. Your feet are there, facing upwards, and your hands are there, like that. Getting your thumbs together sort of completes the circuit. When you see what he does, it's like that, that's it. So it looks a lot like that. You see how that starts to get a certain solidness and flatness about it. You see that? And that sits in there, good and tight. And you, as a Balinese person would, you're sort of pressing that together, and it makes your shoulders come to life then. Right. And your feet are there facing upwards. Now, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've always struggled with that. I'm sure I'm only 5'7". My bones are shorter, more stubby than they should be. I've no idea. I've never actually managed to get in a full lotus position. I've always thought that I might go and see. I've got a lovely friend who's like the totally wonderful yoga teacher, and I might go and see her and say, look, I really want to get this full lotus together. You've got to help me with this. And go and see my lovely Durga, she's called. The mixed blessings on her, but people, you know, I don't want to go and see her. Anyway, so you get in this position, and I don't know if I've mentioned about the fire of life. So the fire of life is the beam, the thing that you use to actually microelectrically connect to the universe, is known generally out there in the spiritual world and the New Age world, or the meditating world, as the fire of life. And the fire of life is like a pale white light that you can breathe through your chakras and in your breath, and it connects you to the universe. It's that simple. It's not even that difficult to do. It's got a sort of pale white smoky nature, the fire of life. And if you can start to feel it in your world, you can start to connect to the universe. That's what it's for. It's the way that your body recognises that it's connecting to the universe. Right? So, the fire of life, your root chakra is in the little bit of the lower part of your body. It's wrong to say that it's just this one point here. That is not the case with the root chakra. The root chakra is big. It's a big thing that you sit on. It's been described as a big red flower, yeah. And chakras are like flowers. They're very much of a petally. I mean, the reason that they're like that is because they're a function, a formation that DNA can take. When the later thing about DNA and how complex it is and the forms and functions that it can take, it can pretty much do nearly anything that you think of in a sort of spirograph type way. A spirograph is a very clever little plastic drawing thing that draws mathematical flowers and shapes and stuff, and it does it in a very clever, analog way. You know, it's one thing inside another, and it makes a squidgy spiral. Yeah? You can make millions of different things with it, and indeed, there's even virtual ones online now. Go and look up virtual spirograph, and you'll find it. I've left some pictures there myself. So here we go with it, and the nature of DNA to make three-dimensional, multi-mathematical shapes is unbelievable. There is a paper that I've read, and there are lectures that you can watch about the new knowledge of DNA. And I'd say any modern seeker, if you're a seeker of enlightenment, you need to be reading about this stuff as well. When I finally publish my book, Harmony of Abundance, there'll be a whole bit in it that is the science, and there'll be a CD or a chip or some kind of data with it that is the tablets. It's got all the stuff on it, yeah. So what you need to know about modern enlightenment will be on there. Yeah? At the moment, I'm just beginning on this overall university of examples that I'm going to be giving, because that's what you do. When you've had the download, you have no choice but to do what I'm doing. And there are other people out there, and when you're like us, I can recognise the other people quite well. Hi, Layla May. I know they're out there, yeah? And they're wonderful. So here we go, further on the root chakra. The fire of life, it's going to come out of the chakras in your hands, and it goes out and in with your breath. It's the easiest way to do it. When you've really got some mastery over it, you can just do it. You can just step into it and start doing it, but not at first. You've really got to have your root chakra sorted out before you start really doing this full on, and it probably won't work very much until you do that. So getting as good, you don't have to get your feet pointing at the universe, because pointing up at the universe. Now, Buddha is doing that to combine his overall ability to go whoosh like that, yeah? So, and that's helping his crown chakra. He really wants to do that. If your feet are facing out like that, they're still facing the universe, but they're not adding to your... At the moment, you don't need that anyway. You just need to get this root chakra warmed up and working, yeah? So it's going to grow like a flower. They say it's red. They connect chakras and the rainbow. I'm not sure about that. It's when Buddha is being blue, everything is blue, and there's a good reason for that, I think. And there's post down the years jokes about blue being a super intelligent colour, etc. And that's no accident. I would say the human DNA outputs loads of stuff that's totally true about itself, that unless you know how to read it and hear it, you won't see it. So you have to start listening to your DNA. It's trying to tell you stuff, and people don't really listen to it very much. Anyway, so you're going to grow this metaphysical flower connection. The the earth loves to connect with the universe with flowers. It's how it reproduces its natural foliage. Its flowers are a big deal for the earth, yeah, and solfeggio shapes, all the classic, spiritual mathematics produce flowers. So, and I'm very big on flowers because they represent the path of spirituality. And when you're on that path, the flowers just come to you. It's just really amazing what the flowers are like. So we're looking for this gentle red flower to grow, and it's kind of built on the sensations of feeling connected, trusting the world around you, having faith in yourself, knowing that everything's right. It adds up to unity in a way that, in the sense of, you are remembering that you're growing on this planet, you're a seed of this planet, you're no different to the trees. And when you do enlightened states, you tend to hang about with trees because they're helping you. You and the trees are one. Layla May goes on about reconnecting with the nature spirits and things, and she's so right about this. From the point of view, if you're trying to become enlightened and you're not connected to the nature around you, you're going to struggle with it. You're not going to. The one energy that you really need, you're not getting. So you have to get this under a tree. The endless pictures of gurus under a tree. This is because they know, go and sit under the tree. And I would advise anybody who's trying to do their root chakra to be on the ground, earthing, under a tree. Yeah? You're thinking, oh, you're not under a tree, you're in your van. No, look, I'm under a load of trees. I have trees all along there. I'm under the trees. They're just there. I look over there, I can see a tree. I've been under this tree lots of times. This tree trusts me, I know it. Yeah? It knows I'm not going to hurt it, I don't need to go and hug it. It's me and the tree have got a relationship. Its roots go well under here, they go right to over there somewhere. You know, the story of me and the tree outside the Salvation Army. Me and the trees have had this relationship always. So that was something when I discovered about it, that, hey, you've been on this path longer than you thought, and the way it's gone, oh look, to you some of the time, it's like that as well. So here I am, I'm under my tree, okay, I'm in my truck, but I'm in this field, I can feel it. The electromagnetic field of this line of trees is quite strong. You can feel it because there's not much else around. So, nice lotus, you don't have to be fully in lotus. Get under a tree, get your palms like this, start your slow deep breathing, and what you're doing is remembering that you're connected to this planet. I'm sorry, I really aren't very well at the moment, but I've got to change my affirmation on that. I'm getting much better as we speak. I'm actually feeling much better as we speak. Do nice gentle breathing, deep enough to be over oxygenating your blood. Keep your hands like this. That's going to keep the energy in this area, and you're beginning on a path that takes a couple of years to really do all of it. So it's like a marathon. It's actually a lot longer than a marathon. It's a bit like learning to drive, where at first the pedals and everything seem really confusing, and when you turn, the world turns and you don't seem to, and you're learning to drive. And what you're learning to drive is your actual light body. So from connecting to the root chakra and having your hands like this, you will then start to realise that, yeah, there is some electrical thing going on that's actually, once you start going, oh, let's connect to it a bit, you're not actually controlling this thing, right? You're just letting your body remember what it does when it's in these states. So, under your tree, the fire of life, initially you're going to have it, it'll feel like it's coming out of your hands and going up to the universe. And when you breathe in, what you just gave is being given back, but it's like it's been universe washed and given back to you, yeah? And they say in the cleansing meditation, you're breathing in purity and you breathe out everything that's impure about you. Right? That's all good, and you can do it like that if you want. I'm just saying, I'm not attaching any words to the fire of life. I'm not attaching purity or impurity to it. My picture of the fire of life is that you breathe it to the universe. It's got it. You just wait a little tiny pause in the pranama breathing. You just wait, and you re-receive it, and then your light body is going to program it, update it to what state you're in, and give it back. And the universe will go, oh, you're beginning to awaken such and such. That's very nice. And it'll give you assurance. It'll give you back, no, that's great, I'm ready to receive that sort of thing. It will be waiting for you to connect to it. The universe, you are actually connecting with it a lot, accidentally, without really realising you're doing it. And that is really amusing, because then when you do find out how to do it, you can realise, oh my god, my whole body has been doing this all the time. I'm just walking about like a ball of spaghetti, and the universe is thinking that I'm funny. You know, it's thinking, oh, that one's still in spaghetti at the moment. And the universe is the sense of humour of this thing that doesn't have a problem with anything. No matter what you do, it's not got a problem with it, because its clean-up crew turns up when the sun goes red and big and just grows beyond the size of all of these planets and just eats everything that ever happened here. The universe will be going, we needed the clean-up crew on that one, didn't we? Yeah, it's going to be, and it's going to be going, yeah. It's not going to be worried about us in that way. It's got hundreds and hundreds of millions of galaxies that it's made for itself already. It's really it's really happy with it. It's like, check me, I'm the universe. It's like, whatever you thought your ego was like, forget it. Your ego is this microscopic piece of dust that is absolutely useless in the face of the giant existence and creation and fantasticness of the universe. We can only hope to just reflect it a tiny bit. If you could get a tiny glint of the fantastic glory of the universe, what Mo calls it, Allah, he's got his name for it. It's a great name for it. All, you know, all is the thing that we're talking about is all, and we are this tiny part of it. And our job is to look, see, feel for it, tell it what's going on, remember why it made us, etc. All the stuff that makes you into properly connected. And if you're not doing that, it's like Yogi says, if you're not living in the spiritual life, he calls it, what are you doing? You're missing the whole reason for your existence. And look, I'm A in physics, I'm talking about this stuff, yeah? Right. I've just done a thing where my own root chakra is now working, right? So, and it's big, it's warm, it feels like you're hugging the world underneath you. The fire of life goes into the planet through this chakra, and as it opens, the beam goes, it's like it goes softer and warmer into the world. the feeling of enlightenment and actual connection is really warm and nice, and it's just like it's really nice. It's a lovely, warm, connected feeling. So then you start to feel your root chakra be this larger thing, and you can just enjoy it. Like, normally when I'm doing the actual meditation, I'm not using actual words. I'm using the words because I'm making the film for you guys. But normally during the meditation I wouldn't use the words. I'd just feel the fire of life. And the more you've done of it, obviously, as soon as I start to do it, my root chakra's open. My body starts to want to sit more like that, and go even a little higher, because I'm bringing the energy up to the next bit, and I'll be not so worried about my root chakra. I wouldn't be thinking, oh, there it is, because once it starts to open, it just starts to open, and it's very comfy. You don't need consciousness to do this, yeah? Your body's going to do it anyway. Every picture that you've ever seen of people with their chakras open, or in a meditation and they look like in a state or whatever, you're going to be joining that. It's like a sea that just comes and sort of washes over you, and you become part of the ascending team of the world, right? So it's not like you have to dive in or try or do any of that. What you're doing is using your sense to make your fire of life start, and the fire of life and the sitting on the world, and what you're just opening the notions of connection with the planet, and that leads to connection to the universe. But really, you've got to connect to the planet first. Truly, you don't. It's just that you haven't, or you haven't been aware of it, or you haven't realised that that's the daily practice that you should do. And until you've really done that, you're not really actually on the path. You're just talking about it, or I mean, I watched a thing yesterday where a nice young guru was going on about how you open your third eye, and one of the things he was saying is people who know how to open their third eye don't try, they just do. They just go in and do it. Same with this. Palms together, the fire of life is to the universe and back, out of the base of your spine, into the planet, like, there's my fire. Bring back like that. Obviously it's me, so I've been doing this a long time, and I'm going to get into a position eventually that's like this, and all of my chakras will be open, and the fire will just go out of all of them, and it'll be a full-on crown chakra experience. If I keep going as I'm now, if I stop this film now and carry on, start the actual meditation and go into it, in another half an hour I'll be having a fully illuminated state, and I won't be much use for the rest of the day to the people that I'm supposed to go out and help. I just want to sit in my van and not really do anything. So there you go, give it a try, let it open. It's supposed to be pinky red, you don't have to worry about that. It's a huge spirographic looking flower thing that resides pretty much under and in the lower part of your body, that you can sit on like a spiritual cushion, that is fully connected with the earth. It's like the earth is like that, and the earth has millions of electronic tendrils, millions and millions. Every little blade of grass and everything like that's got a tiny bit of electric in it, and your electronic tendrilness, instead of it being all tied up like that and you sit on the earth and go, can't connect, it's going to open like that, and it's going to go almost like a jellyfish with all its things on the bottom. It's going to go, ooh, we belong together, like that. Yeah, sit down into it. Oh yeah, but it's not going like that. It just goes, ooh, yeah. Oh, wow, it's so nice that there's instant trust, instant, yeah, this is the right way to do it. No more of this, oh God, the earth feels hard. No, the earth is not hard, that's you being hard. The earth is warm, tenderly, goodly. little lovely little electronic rootsy things that connect with you, and you've got that as well, but you won't let it up. So just let it all out. It's almost like you've become this electronic pyramid, and you can just feel it like that. And when the fire of life goes, it sort of breathes together as well. So you start to get the Buddha smile. Yeah, and that's why he's got this smile, because he's got this thing where he can then go into his next parts. Right, root chakra, give it a go.